Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth, maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running on.
Welcome in, guys. We are here for an exciting day of gameplay at Risen Esports. I'm Mad Magical, joined in by Beatdown Boulevard. And yes, I did say that. I made sure to rub the salt in the wound a little bit on that one, just to have a little bit of fun. But we have some exciting games ahead of us. SolaFide, the team that had been the #1 pegged seed coming into the tournament, dropped their series last time we saw them to wildcard. And now they got to go up against Winthrop, a team that has been quite a surprise. They were able to upset Super Fruit Basket Warriors just yesterday. Yeah. And now they want to do it again. If they can do that, they make it to playoffs and knock SolaFide out.
And that'd be pretty mind-shattering if I'm being honest now. Like SolaFide, the team that was seeded #1, the team with a lot of veteran players, XLCS players we all thought, man, these guys are nuts. They're going to go 5-0, lock in the semifinals. Like, it isn't even a question until they lost against Wildcard Gaming just 2 days ago. And what a game it was. The Twitter banter that ensued was amazing. But the point is now, as a result, SolaFide are facing elimination from first seed to not even making playoffs is a potential avenue for this team's future. And now as they face off against Winthrop, again, most notable accomplishment is beating Super Fruit Basket Warriors. And we're going to see if they can do it again. Winthrop do need to show us a little bit of something different. Because, of course, if we look pound for pound, come on, even after Saturday's loss, I'm leaning towards SolaFide.
Yeah, everyone's going to be leaning towards them. They're the favorites. They're the #1 seed, and a lot of people are going like, it was a fluke that they lost. But they lost 2-0 to Wildcard.
Yeah,
it wasn't like it was a close loss. It's not a 2-1 loss that they barely were scrapped by, and they got pretty handed. And now you can even see we're running through this draft. We have Olaf already for Winston, which is pretty much a go-to in the jungle at the moment. But Seraphine Lucian, those two are a little bit more interesting. The flexibility. I love seeing flexible picks. I feel like you have to against Winthrop University. This is a team that I feel like their win condition to beat SolaFide in this entire best of 3 is to pretty much just play their own style. It's never give any inch of any style that you're going to play. Because if you even look at the loss that SolaFide had against Wildcard, they did lose to a Rel. And Rel is not considered a very strong pick still.
To be fair, I think people who say that are incorrect, but otherwise...
Compared to, like, a Leona, I feel like Leona is just a better Rel.
We were going to have a little talk about that one, Magical, because I actually do disagree. But to more of the point, you are still correct. At the end of the day, Winthrop definitely win by playing to their own style. They had Kled played the other day recently in their top lane, which was definitely not something you see a whole lot of. But part of that does come from when they're on red side, they definitely keep an eye on what their opponent is drafting. And that's when they know, once they get these indications, then they start to bring up some of those spicy picks. But then, like you said, flex picks are abound here so far in the first wave for SolaFide. So Winthrop so far haven't done anything too crazy. In fact, they've done some pretty textbook stuff. Kaisa, Lilia, Aatrox, all pretty standard picks in their respective lanes, especially Kaisa, who's probably the best AD right now aside from Misfortune.
And that's what I was just about to mention. It's odd because SolaFide are a team that have left a lot up in the air. You know Olaf's going to go jungling. You know Winston wants to be able to play that. That's not anything surprising. He's been playing a lot of Olaf throughout this entire tournament. But Lucian, Seraphine, there is a good argument to be made that not only do either of them go mid lane on a Tuesday, but either of them go bot lane, as Rel now being banned by them might even indicate it is going to be a Seraphine bot lane.
That would make a lot of sense, especially if you look at the supports they banned aside from Rel as well. We're seeing Leona, Thresh, all 3 supports that would kind of smash Seraphine. They would not have a fun time, so you are very likely right. That is what they are going to see, and I'm curious to see what supports are going to come out, because all of the big picks are gone. Winthrop ban Alistar. We're even reaching so deep now. Nautilus is seeing a little bit more play, and I think he's good. He's just not as commonly picked if we think hard engaged supports. We think Leona, Rel, Alistar, and now I want to see how SolaFide are going to round out the rest of this draft. Looking like the mid lane pick is going to be what Winthrop want to save for last. They want to know for sure what SolaFide are running with, and now they do have the answer. It is going to be the Syndrome.
And that pretty much just confirms what I had thought. Just looking at the bans, you see Leona and Rel both banned away.
Yeah.
You have Seraphine already locked in. Well, what does Seraphine tend to do pretty bad into? Both of those. So it's an indication that I ensure the Galio and Alice are also really good into Seraphine, which is interesting to see that Winthrop went for it, which is another indication why I felt like they were just going to flex that Seraphine bot lane. The Nautilus probably going to try to see if they can get that level 2 spike to be able to get a little bit of pressure. It's the Kai'Sa Nautilus lane. This is something that you can go back a couple of years and remember when they dominated the bot lane, and Yone getting locked in as well. So this is a lot of all, like, they're going all in. They want to fight. You got Kai'Sa, Lilia, Aatrox, Nautilus, and Yone. What are they going to do? They're going to fight.
And I'll tell you what, Alex, I'm super excited for that one. I do love me a Yone pick. Think he's a great champ, but I do get those thoughts and feelings of this is kind of like Riven. Are you sure you put enough time into this champ? That's going to be the real question here, because we've seen some Yones, I'm going to be real, run it down, and then we've seen other Yones absolutely Smurf doesn't even begin to describe it. So there's a lot of potential with this extremely high ceiling champion. But with Winthrop's composition, I like it a lot. You got a lot of hard engage to play with here. You definitely have a lot of ways to start off these compositions. And I like the bot lane matchup specifically that you talked about, because Kai'Sa Nautilus, staple from a long time ago, still relevant to this day. And against something like the Seraphine, SolaFide's bot lane are going to have to be careful. Sure, Lucian is quite mobile, does have the dash available to them, but one good dredge line against this bot lane could already end that laning phase.
Right, but we do have to talk about Lucian. Lucian is one of those picks that I feel like kind of, everyone talks about, you know, Kai'Sa and Miss Fortune as being the staple meta right now. Those are the two ADCs that are really strong. But I feel like Lucian is one of those picks. It's almost like a rock, paper, scissors. Miss Fortune's good into Lucian. Lucian's good into Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's good into Miss Fortune. That's pretty much how this goes. And everyone always forgets about that Lucian pick because they're so focused on the other two. But Lucian does well into Kai'Sa because they're both low range, and Lucian is a bully in that lane phase. It paired it up with another ranged support. They're going to try to see if they can whittle away at the health bar of Sasuke so that this Kai'Sa's not even ever going to be able to get that level 2 spike that they need to for the Kai'Sa Nautilus.
But here's why that doesn't bother me, Mad Magical. The reason I think that is okay is you're right. Lucian Seraphine is going to get the push most likely on Winthrop's bot lane, but I think that's okay because it's going to make it harder to see those Olaf ganks that could really throw a pinch in Winthrop's, well, let's be honest, their willingness to scale. The fact that if you just look across the board, they're just trying to farm. They're trying to wait until the 20-25 minute mark when they are absolutely dummy strong, able to go into these team fights with all the power and hard engage that they need. So if that's the case and you spend a lot of your time under tower, Kai'Sa's more than capable of farming. I think it's going to be hard to dive this bot lane specifically unless we see some 4-man plays, which SolaFide, are definitely no stranger to.
No.
But I think that favors well for Winthrop, as long as they don't do anything too crazy.
So now this is my next question for you, Beatdown.
Okay.
We look at the draft and look at the composition. We already know Winthrop, it's an all-in fight composition. They're going to skirmish heavy. But there's good disengage on the other side. SolaFide pretty much have countered that, and they're going to look to see if they can not only set up a split push coming in from Dokla, but Tuesday on Syndra is an amazing counter to everything that Winthrop want to do, purely for the fact that she can scatter the weak.
Yeah, and especially playing with Winthrop picking the Yone especially too, they know this. So they know they do have to be super careful of that ability and really keep track of those cooldowns they have to watch out for when going for an engage. Of course, Winthrop not going to go in blind when Scatter the Weak is available, for example. Definitely not going to clump up because that could start off some pretty disaster. Yeah, I have faith. I think watching what they've picked after what SolaFide picked, I'm going to give them the best.
Like, I'm hoping that we can give them the benefit of the doubt, too. I think I did, unfortunately, lose my co-caster there for a second.
That would lead to some pretty devastating fights.
There we go. We got him back. We got Beatdown back. He disconnected for a second, unfortunately. But it's okay.
No.
It's okay. We got the gist of what you were saying. It's really going to be on the onus of how Winthrop are going to be able to play into Tuesday. And yes, that is going to be important. I do want to also mention Zeyzal playing the Seraphine. Because throughout the Risen tournament, throughout the Proving Grounds, we have seen far more of the typical Zeyzal style, which is playing things like Alistar, Galio, anything that can really engage and help the team. Gragas has been another one, something that can engage and help the team. But Seraphine's different in that. Well, yes, she can set up the team for success to be able to win and start off some of these fights with a good encore, even good double up on her passive with her root. That's not really necessarily the easiest thing. It's far more about the disengage re-engage that she's going to be able to provide, which is a slightly different style from the normal Zeyzal we see.
Yeah, that is true. It's definitely different, but an approach they seem to be confident in, and it plays into their composition as a whole. Because, like you already mentioned, there is a lot of disengage available to SolaFide as a whole. They kind of have this. They have this range that they can poke some damage here into Winthrop. Kind of be whenever they want to engage, be like, no, it's not time yet. And then once they've whittled you down, once they have the vision they're happy with, once they're Camille, that's the big thing too. Dokla finds a really nice angle, that's when they're going to be ready to engage. But their ability to keep things at arm's length is really what's important here. And although it is different from what we see from Zeyzal, it is something still that I think is going to work out for them pretty well.
And I have utmost confidence in Zeyzal. Since back when casting him in, like, very briefly in Cloud9 Academy back in 2018. He was only there for a little bit before already getting upgraded to the LCS because he was that dominant in that supportive role. Seeing him here now, I know that he can play a varied and a myriad, there it is, a myriad of different, of different champions. He has a pretty big champion pool. Well, yes, he's well known for playing more of the heavy engaged tank supports. He can still play these range supports such as Seraphine, and that's why I feel like that's still far in the wheelhouse of how they're going to be able to play SolaFide. There's a reason why they're the #1 seed, even if they had dropped the series to wildcard. For now, I am going to toss it to a quick break so that way we can get all lined up within the game. When we come back, we'll be in for game 1 here, trying to see who's going to be able to make it to the playoffs and who is going to fall short between SolaFide and between Winthrop University. Stick around. Welcome back, it's Risen. We're here for game 1 between SolaFide and Winthrop. Sorry about the little bit of a delay. We had a couple of technical issues, but we were able to get them all solved. Nothing happened except for this moment. We're actually seeing a late invade attempted by SolaFide.
Yeah, but it is well known because both junglers did go early.
Look at this. Look at that. Look at the main map.
Wait a second. Yeah. There's already. So there could be something going on. I actually don't think they've seen them.
They have not. They're now noticing the flash came in. Who gets blue buff? It's going to be able to go over. And first blood picked up by Tuesday. The flash over the wall coming in from Zazel. Both them and Winston died in the fight. Even though they were able to figure out and get that first blood, it was disastrous for them.
That is, wow. That is off to a fantastic start here. If you are Winthrop University, the fact that you get first blood, the fact that you get Winthrop, Saskio got the first, or Saskio, excuse me. Wow.
Yeah, Saskio got
the first blood. Yeah,
Saskio got it. It was weird on my, so I had a little bit of a hiccup on mine. It showed Syndra's portrait for first blood, but it said Saskio. So I said Tuesday. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. There's something weird there. That's okay. Sometimes you get those glitches coming in with the client. Hopefully, we're not going to have another one of those. I thought, like, if that happens again, I'm definitely taking a picture of that. But with it, it's still 2 kills early on for the side of Winthrop, as you were mentioning. And I do believe that the first, it was a smite secured by Frost Force, who was able to take away the blue buff and secure that for himself. I think. I'm trying to make sure, because it was really difficult to tell within the entire fight because Smite came a bit too early for Winston. He didn't get the blue buff.
Wait, yeah, because I'm seeing Apollo Price is the one with the blue buff. So he must have been the one to pick it up and all that. Because you know what? Winston panic smites to get himself some HP, and while Apollo's autoing it, he must have just taken it. So
it was probably just a rush. They got to do something, right? I mean, I will say that's actually probably a nice person to be able to gift it on to early, even though Dokla now in a little bit of trouble, was able to hook shot. They know that he's trying to see if he can escape. Has that flash still available, getting a lot of damage coming in. Finally, the flash away to try to survive. No World CD, even though bot lane has a little bit of fight happening as well. It's only 1 summoner blown so far.
Yeah, now things have slowed back down and we're kind of relaxed. I think you talked about hiccups earlier, and I think this is a big hiccup here for SolaFide. Having this early kill on Saskio, who you talked about is playing against the Solution, who usually lane bully, similar range to Kaisa. Well, as soon as that first recall comes through, that's going to be much less of a problem here. So already, some of these early advantages that we see SolaFide draft for themselves are going to be null and void. And of course, you get a kill on Doxa, on this Yone, who is absolutely not a champion. You want any sort of early kills. You ever played against Yasuo? Well, this is a lot worse. So if Doxa plays this one properly as well, this could already be the start of a little bit of a snowball here, just on those 2 specific champions. But
yes, but I do want to bring back to what happened and why it, strangely enough, isn't the worst thing for the side of SolaFide. It all comes down to who got the blue buff. Apollo getting that. Look at the CS league. Look at Saskio, how much he's been forced into his own turret. I talked about the level 2 power spike that you normally get from a Kaisa Nautilus, where they try to go for this early fight. Well, with the blue buff, he's able to sling all of those spells and constantly be able to keep the lane shoved in, that they're now facilitated to go and just take the jungle away from Frost Force because they got 4 members here.
Yeah, just using that priority in the bot lane and just having Tuesday roam as it is going to make it so easy for Winston to continue to just grow this farm lead against Frost Forest, excuse me. So yeah, we talked about the early lead being pretty good for Winthrop, but look at Forest versus Winston. That's 2 levels at 5 minutes. Now that is going to be an extremely difficult experience gap to overcome, because at this point, Winston is already winning these early skirmishes against Lilia. Against Olaf, like, no problem. It's not even up for discussion. So now you have this level advantage. Frost Forest isn't allowed to play League anymore, and that could actually be game losing.
Exactly. Even though right now Tuesday in a little bit of trouble, had to flash away from Doxa to be able to survive. every single lane is shoving up for the side of SolaFide. Every single lane is getting an advantage. Only Doxa was able to get a little bit of a lead because he was able to get that level lead. And the bot lane have a little bit of a skirmish coming in onto Apollo. No mana this time around now that he's lost that blue buff. They're trying to see if they can lock down Zazel. The flash comes in from Saskia to take him down. Trying to turn it around. One more auto from Zazel. Was able to get the 1-for-1 trade as Dokla gets ganked to the top lane. Easily going to be falling in the fight over to Frost Forest.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. Oh, no. What are you doing, Frost Forest? Oh, no. I know that you thought you can go and invade, but you gotta cut your losses sometimes. You got the victory. You had it.
Yeah. You got kill XP. Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be once upon a time, but I think now but that's desperation to me. Honestly, Frost Forest is like, okay, this is good. This is good. I got some kill XP. I got some gold. If I take his Gromp, that's going to be the start of a comeback. But now Winston, of course, knows this, is waiting in the brush to take him out. And now we're back to where we started. That kill didn't really matter anymore because now Winston solo killed him. The experience lead is actually greater than it was a couple of seconds ago. And this, again, an insane mountain now for Frost Forest to be able to climb. If played correctly, Winston and the rest of the team here on SolaFide could actually carry this to win game 1.
Exactly. I would have loved to have seen SolaFide use that pressure in the bot lane, the fact that they were able to get a 1-for-1 trade on Saskia, to then try to invade again into Frost Force and continue to deny those blue buffs that Lilia desperately needs. But at the same time, it's not necessarily needed because now they show up bot lane, they shove in, and what's up on the table? It is a Mountain Dragon. Sir Kenji trying to at least hope that they can take down Tuesday, but he's able to easily use Scatter the Weak, and now that he has backup from the bot lane from Winston, they have to leave the fight. They cannot continue to aggress onto Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think, I really don't think that's a fight you want to take in general. If you are Winthrop, it would be very, there's a word I'm looking for. It's wishful thinking, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, even if you're keeping pace as a Lilia, you got to let those early dragons go, mate. With Rift Herald coming up, I think that's where you got to focus a lot of your attention. Try to trade objectives on the other side, maybe gank.
B10, I love this. Our producer has no idea what is happening right now with Frost Force and what the build is. But you got to remember that there's two reasons. One, the Lilia build has actually changed a little bit to go for Moonstone Renewer. But there's also the fact that Frost Force has been behind. And when behind, Moonstone Renewer actually is far more cost effective. That's going to be able to help the team out a lot better to be able to make it so that, sure, you might be behind. Sure, you might not look like you're in as good of a position as a Winston is, but you'll at least be able to benefit the team a little bit more by having an earlier item spike.
Yeah, true. So the main problem Frost Force is going to deal with as a result is going to be that XP difference that you can see he's doing his best, trying to farm as much as he can to close the gap, but it is going to be tough. We are going to need to see more than just, handshake farming across different parts of these jungles here for there to actually be a catch-up. Yeah, Moonstone Renewer is going to be nice, so just at least make it a little worse, or not as bad, rather, that Frost Force isn't going to be dealing as much damage. It is going to be focused on the healing, trying to put out a lot of sustain for these engagements. So now my only concern is still going to be smite level.
I love this play from SolaFide. Why bother having Apollo and Zazel bot lane when there's nothing to gain? Rift Herald's up. Swap them. Australian lanes, they were the first ones to call it, and Winthrop had no idea. They were the ones caught completely unawares because they're not used to the style. And this is one of the things that we have to continue to mention with SolaFide. The fact that a lot of these players, ex-LCS, ex-Academy players, all of them worthy of being in the LCS, they have the knowledge to know when they need to perfectly lane swap like that. They had the shove already in, that forced Saskia and Sir Kenji to have to stay in that bot lane a little bit longer. That allowed for Apollo and Zazel to be the first ones to pull the trigger. First ones to lane swap, they get the Rift Herald, and now they can even go back bot lane. They can go right there, and they can continue to try to see if they can maybe even look for a pick onto hybrids. They might even try to set up a dive onto that Aatrox.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. You see Winston is already on that side of the map as well, and Frost Force nowhere near able to help should that be the case. So I think you're right, Magical. That is what we're going to see come through in this next minute or so from SolaFide. And overall, it's like you said, they're playing this early game. Honestly, outside of that really early level 1 blunder, they are playing this early game phenomenally. And this is, even though they are a little behind in gold, they are picking up these objectives. And with a little more plates with the Rift Herald, they certainly will be able to close that gold gap.
And that's what I was about to say. That's mostly the reason why they're behind in gold at the moment, is because a lot of plates were just taken by both Sasuke and Sir Kenji. No real way that Dokla could kind of try to help out that turret. If you even tried to, you die. You got a Nautilus nearby, Frost Force was in the area. You kind of have to forfeit that. It's an unfortunate reality. This play is interesting. Trying to jump onto Doxa in the mid lane, even though it didn't end up working out because Yone does have that safety built into his kit, they're still able to make the play bot lane with the help of the Rift Herald. So they secure the first turret gold. They gift that over to Apollo mostly so that the solution can continue to be in a position to try to carry these team fights.
And he does have a CS lead. It's actually going to be that Rift Herald's also going to be able to get that second charge off too. Oh no, I think Frost Force is in trouble.
Frost Force? Yeah, you got nowhere to go. Even with the sleepy bye time, it ain't your time to be able to win that fight.
No, not at all. Hextech Ultimatum is going to make that super easy to avoid. And there it is. We are seeing the gold lead evened up. And of course, at this rate, it is going to continue to further go in SolaFide's favor. Everything is working out for them so far here. Again, it's just desperation from Frost Force specifically, trying to pick up whatever farm you can. And they know that. Dokla knows that Frost Force is already in his jungle, so he is looking around for him. And of course, that's an easy 1v1, especially for an underleveled Lilia. And now, that means not a whole lot left for Frost Force to do other than farm. And even though Winston is topside, there's a good chance that next dragon is going to go over to SolaFide here. So Winston probably going to see if he can take any camps and reset.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to be able to get a lot of plates topside for both Apollo and Zeyzal, and by the time, you know, they want to switch, if they want to try to fight over that dragon, they can easily swap it around. Try to see if you can send both Apollo and Zeyzal into that bot lane. All the while, Winston fighting against Doxa, who's the same level. That's how farmed up Winston is on this Olaf. He's just been power farming like nobody's business, making sure that he's constantly going to be able to put pressure on everyone.
Oh, we got a dive here on Dokla.
Yes, we do. We got the dive. Dokla looks like he's surviving for a while, and unfortunately, the TP in from Tuesday, that's not what you wanted to be able to join, even though you're trying to see if you can flash away to turn it around. And look who's here, another fight. You don't want to go for a 1-for-4, or do you? Getting the kill, trying to turn it around, barely healing up, finally dies. Zeyzal too late to the fight as well. Another combatant into the fight. Cannot go for a 1v3. They have to back out. Honestly, that was just bad timing on the side of SolaFide. You had to just sacrifice Dokla at that rate.
Absolutely. It was wishful thinking with that teleport from Tuesday, but you gotta imagine that Dokla is done and dusted in that scenario, just given the champs that were diving him at the moment. Aatrox, Nautilus, and of course, insert any ADC into that equation, and you have an instant death here. And Doxa isn't going to get the instant death onto Apollo Price, so that's good. He gets out. But overall, a 3-for-1 in favor of Winthrop, especially with that early deficit they found themselves in terms of jungle experience. We take those any day of the week.
Exactly. That was definitely an odd fight coming in from the side of SolaFide. And honestly, like, I get they wanted to be able to try to see if they could get Tuesday bot lane. They're hoping Dokla was going to be able to survive just a little bit longer, but all of it just seemed like wishful thinking. It's one of those dives that you know that's going to happen. You see Camille getting dove, and you go, well, there's 4 members there. Sacrifice. What else can we get on the map? And the thing is, they already had the play set up. They got Apollo to be able to take down that tier 1 top lane. More gold into the pocket of Lucian. More control of the map. The only thing now that if they can crack it, they have complete control of the map is going to be that tier 1 mid.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big thing for both of these teams, just being able to push that mid wave out further, make it easier to contest these neutral objectives here. But now the real thing to talking about contention is just more invading here from Winston, but we actually might have a jungle skirmish over these chickens.
Well, it's going to be the smite that goes the way of Winston. They got the charm with the encore, and they've got the 2 easily. Even though Dokla's trying to see if he can fight with 2 himself, you're going to see it's a 2-for-1 trade. Even though there is a position from Zeyzal to continue the fight, they should back out. They have advantage and control of the jungle.
And I love that. They don't get greedy and pursue more. But take a look in that top quadrant there in Winthrop's jungle. It is lit up blue at the moment here. Absolutely not very few red wards in sight. And that means it's going to be really difficult to set up for these next couple of objectives on that side of the map. That second Rift Herald, gone. You don't get it anymore if you're Winthrop, because you're going to have to spend so much of your time, A, setting up a defensive vision line because you've now lost all your tier 1s, and B, clearing out the vision in your topside jungle. because there's so much.
And what did I say about what was the most important thing for SolaFide to be able to get? That tier 1 mid. They've gotten that, and they have complete control now of the map with Rift Herald as well. They have so many placements. Sure, you see some aggression coming in from SolaKenji, trying to take down Dokla, trying to wrestle some control of the map away from SolaFide. But when you lose that tier 1, it's so easy now for Winston to be able to constantly invade Frost Force jungle that there's not really much hope for you once they start backing, once they start getting some more items in their belt, and then they all group up and have their ideas on what objective they want to be able to take down.
Yeah, that's the thing. Currently now, the gold lead that we're seeing, it hasn't actually been spent yet. Until we see these resets come through from SolaFide, the difference in power isn't too bad. But as soon as those resets come through, that's when we're really going to see the solidification of that lead. It is nice for Hybrid to be able to pick up this turret, get some extra gold into his pocket. He is going to be a pretty big damage dealer in this composition, as well as frontliner here. So you're looking a lot now because Frost Forest has fallen behind, and also because the build he's going to look to hybrids to be able to be a good lead in these team fights.
Ooh, Encore and Ragnarok both burned by the side of SolaFide, not getting anything from it. That means there's going to be a lot of cooldown and a lot of time now for the side of Winthrop to be able to punish that. You know that Winston's vulnerable. You know Zeyzal can't do much to be able to help out the team. But unfortunately, what is there to get on the map?
Yes. I was gonna say exactly that. It's really cool. 2 big ultimates out of the way, especially Olaf's Ragnarok. So difficult to deal with. Now it's gone. But what do you play for here? And it's looking like you play for the pick, because we do still see the invade, even though there are no neutrals available. And I don't hate that, because there is a dragon coming up in just under a minute's time. So they actually might catch them. Here comes the X-Flash.
X-Flash over the wall.
Oh,
the dredge line get connected. Zeyzal going golden, trying to see if they can continue the fight. The TP is going to be able to come in from Dokla, but he's able to get in the fight in time. Hybrid so low. Gore Drinker trying to give him back up to full, but he finally died. 2 of them gone. 3 of them gone. Looking to see if they can take anyone down with the Undertow connecting and getting the sweep onto SolaKenji. Everyone wants to be able to follow that up. Easy slice and dice for Scissor Lady onto the Anchorman himself as Doxa jumps back only to die in a clean ace for SolaFide.
And Alex, what did you say early on was a big disengage tool here for SolaFide? It was the scatter of the week from Tuesday's Syndra. And although I tried giving Winthrop the benefit of the doubt, they weren't watching for it.
And unfortunately, it's hard to know exactly when that's gonna come out. You're trying to bait it out, but it just doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't, and that's the thing. They tried to punish the fact that there was no Encore, there was no Ragnarok for the side of SolaFide. But at the end of the day, you still lose that fight, because crucial seconds were lost to that scatter of the week, where there was a 4-man stun, I'm quite certain of. So that means the Fate Sealed really didn't get any value because we see Zeyzal go golden. So Doxa actually didn't get to do very much because his whole team fell around him. He was in this 1v5 scenario. Well, hey, I'll give him props for living as long as he did. But of course, he still met his end.
And that's, I think, the most unfortunate thing for Winthrop. It looked like a great engage. It looked like a good pick. But the problem was they forgot about stopwatch. Curse be stopwatch.
Press tab, please.
Well, the thing is, it's also one of those things that you always get so tilted. You're like, I got them. They ain't got nothing. They're a support. They can't build anything. But stopwatch is only 650 gold. It ain't not expensive.
Yeah, right. Can we talk about that? Because that is a good item, even if it's one-time use.
All right, sleep. Ragnarok popped. Nicely done. Not going to be able to land anything further to be able to continue the fight, but I always love getting rid of Ragnarok.
Yes, absolutely. It is just such a big tool there for Winston that's no longer available. You get the flash out of Tuesday.
Oh,
this could be a dive.
It could be, but it was the Encore on to SolaKenji. They already were able to disengage perfectly, and that's such a difficult thing to be able to go up against SolaFide. How do you continue the engage when they can just bop you back?
That's right. They have a lot of ways to do so. But again, Alex, we're in the same position. Winston and Zeyzal use their ults, no kills. So what is going to be the answer here? And oh my god, they're going to go for a 20-minute Baron here.
Baron. Let's do it. I am with it. I love it. Even though Winston took a lot of damage. But that is Olaf, and that's what he loves to do. going to be able to try to bait this, but I think it's only a bait. I don't think they're going to complete it. They want to actually look for the fight, though. Winston's low. Remember, Gore Drinker is something that can keep him pretty healthy.
Yeah. So and it looks like they were serious about it because
No.
the response.
Look, what did they get? Look at hybrids. What did they get? It's the TP.
Oh, you're right.
And since there's a disjointed TP time between Dokla and hybrids from that last play, the last fight that Dokla was able to join in, now they've got an advantage. They needed to be able to burn that TP out of hybrids so they can set up a split push from Dokla as well as later a Baron play. They got that advantage. They have a huge win. It's huge. Look at that time difference between the two TPs. They have so much time to now work with.
Yeah, and that's tough now especially because Doxa doesn't have a TP of his own. Going Ignite means you really lose out on all of your map pressure now as a result of Saskia.
Oh no, Dokla. He was going on to Saskia, but where's your team? Hello, Scatter of the Weak, who does a lot of damage on a Doxa, but he's still got a shield to try to see if he can survive. He's not able to snap back with his face unsealed. Instead, it's going to be Saskia ripped apart in the backline. Hybrids goes trying to take down Apollo, but they got stunned up for way too long. Even rooted to throw back Golden. He goes, but you can tell the supports can't do nothing. Everyone's dead except for Hybrids, and he's trying to run for the hills, trying to be able to escape from the fight, but the Axe was able to slow him down for a little bit of time as Winston continues the chase, continues the hunt. Finally, he dashes over the wall, but who's left standing? It's SolaFide, and Baron is on the table.
And this time, it's not going to be a bait here, Vad, because now they got the fight that they were looking for, and this time it wasn't a disengage, but Tuesday's Scatter of the Week was a phenomenal engage. After Dokla ran in, I'll tell you what, I was really scared, thinking, oh my god, he's gone. Oh no, SolaFide have thrown away everything. Oh, it's so doomed. But it wasn't, because Tuesday, again, huge stun to be able to allow that culling from Apollo Price to do all that damage that it did. At that point, it was easy. They cut through them like hot knife through butter. It couldn't have been easier.
Tuesday and a Blazolve. Two names we've heard a lot, and Tuesday and Blazolve, both of them I've made many arguments on the fact that they both have deserved to be in the LCS. Tuesday not there is a crime and a shame, because you can see that from his Syndra performance. You can see that now as the engage continues. Dokla onto hybrids. This time he has the team to be able to back up. They have the advantage of the Rift. They have the Baron as well. They even jump in and get rid of hybrids from wanting to continue the fight.
Yeah, and it's tough. Hybrid wants no part of any of that. He's going to get his back canceled as well, which is, he just can't find anything here. And, so
I mean, it's a fight. They're getting a lot of summoners at the moment, but really, it's just scaring them away. They're chasing them off the premises. They're trespassing in their jungle now. It's Winston's. He owns this. You got nothing left, Frost Forest. The forest has been chopped down.
It's really sad when you think about Lilia's relationship to the trees. I'm sure it's heartbreaking for her to hear. And if you've ever played jungle, this situation is absolutely heartbreaking. Where it's, as you say, he can't.
Whoa, Doxa. He's got to jump back, too. He's got to get away, but he's already dead. He's sliced apart. Encore in the backline, landing on to Frost Force. He has to go golden to be able to survive and die immediately upon impact. Killing spree coming in from Apollo as they had the siege. They got the Baron, they got the kills, and they got hybrids. He's unstoppable. Tuesday is insane on this Syndra, and game one is going to go over to SolaFide.
And they don't even need to pick up the Dragon Soul here. They're just going to win the fight in the base. And with one Baroned up caster minion, are they going to use to take the base as well? Yeah, maybe you're going to get one kill onto Winston, but it doesn't matter. It's a consolation.
Are you going to get it on him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Game one, SolaFide. This game is showing us all why they were touted as the strongest team coming into this Proving Ground circuit. And sure, you know, some hiccups early on. Pretty bad fight, a pretty bad invade. But it didn't seem to really slow them down. Once they got the train out of the station, it kept chugging along until it made its destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, Olaf, and Winston specifically on Olaf, managed to take advantage of that early farm lead. And if y'all were watching the LCS, now we get to see that back and forth of what you do with the farm lead and what you don't do with the farm lead. And Winston is a prime example of what you do with it. Constantly invading, constantly stealing jungle camps, going for these 1v1s, actually just hiding out in brushes. I'm sure inciting that reaction. Like, what? Why is he even there? Who does that? And I'm sure Frost Forest was just not happy about game one. And honestly, this is more of the SolaFide that we wanted to see. And Mad Magical, you know what I'm about to ask you about. We had this whole analogy about this isn't even SolaFide's final form when they lost. Yeah, well, when they lost the wild card the other day, and we were trying to discuss what form of Frieza they're in. I think it's fair to say they've kicked it up to third form at this point.
You think I'm still set on second form?
Really?
I'm still only on second form, and I'll tell you why. I feel like that's how strong of a team. I feel like they have a lot more left. I feel like you're cutting them short on where their potential goes, and I think that they're still playing with their food a bit. I feel like you saw in the early part of this game that was a weird invade. They didn't really have control. They didn't really have the pressure to be able to look for that kind of play, and it went disastrous. Yet at the same time, they kept even. They were able to get every single lane to be able to push up, so they continue to have Winston in a position to hyper farm into oblivion. I feel like they still got a long way to go. This is still only Form 2 Frieza. They've only upgraded once, and they still got a long way to go before they're in their perfect form.
Well, I suppose that's going to have to be for playoffs because that's right. This is still a big elimination match, and both of these teams are fighting for that last quarterfinals spot. SolaFide is now only one game away from doing so, and I'm going to be real. If they play like game one, it's a lock. 2-0, no problem. That's when you start typing in chat or in Twitter if you're SolaFide. Wasn't even close. We weren't even worried. All that good stuff.
Told you, and they're not even in their final form yet, but we'll find out if they're going to actually upgrade or not, or if they're going to stay stagnant after a short break. When we come back, Game 2 between SolaFide and Winthrop University. Stick around.
How the hell? I completely... Where did he get that farm lead? What happened?
So what happened was, even though he died early, he just hyped. He didn't think about how many times he saw games coming in crossboards, but how many he saw from Winston. And what he kept doing is, because they had that advantage, every single lane pushing, he got both of the scuttle pushes. And that was...
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Like they're pretty hot, and I don't see a reason for them to have to upgrade any further, especially if they can give up a lead like that, yet still then win every single lane.
Yeah, honestly, we were talking about it beforehand. Really, the problem ended up being the jungle difference in terms of man, sorry, me saying jungle dip sounds really toxic now that I think about it, just because. Okay,
well, okay. I'll justify this for you.
Please.
So we got hot mic'd a little bit, so some people got a little bit of a spoiler of what we were going to mention.
Yeah.
Is the fact of what happened to really lead that. It was more the fact that, I even said it, it's when you have 3 lanes that are able to get a hard shove, and you're got up a Lilia up against an Olaf. Olaf wants to skirmish you. He's always going to want to fight you. And now that he always can pretty much get backup from any one of the lanes, regardless of where you are, you kind of have to sacrifice. And the only way to really get back into the game is to then find ganks. But the ganks didn't work, unfortunately. Sure, you got a couple flashes. Sure, you're able to at least get some leads. But flashes don't give you experience. They don't let you keep up with an Olaf.
Imagine.
That would be funny, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there too, especially if you look at the matchups as a whole. Like, just look at the top lane matchup, for instance. You have Camille into Aatrox. Yeah, you got Camille's flash. That's really cool. But is Aatrox gonna solo kill Camille? No, probably not. It's actually quite unlikely. Even early on, it's not going to happen. So that would require another visit to the top lane to punish that flash. And like you said, it's just time and time again. You are occasionally getting these kills, but it really doesn't amount to much, because with those experience changes that came through in Season 10, at the end of the day, if you are getting assist gold or even kill gold in a 2v1, it's just better to keep farming. It just is. And that's how you end up falling behind in farm if you are this Lilia, and it just became impossible. Like, you can't fight Lilia on even XP anyway. So imagine if you're a few levels down. It's impossible.
Exactly. And that's even why, like, I know the Moonstone Renewer is the new fancy thing for Lilia to build. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I understand where you're coming from. It's a cheaper thing. But the problem with it is once you fall behind, especially like how we are right now with the draft already pretty much going through the first set of bans, it's a hard thing to be able to skyrocket yourself back into the game to be able to really carry from there. This Talia first pick, though, out of Winthrop. I know Talia jungle has been surging back in popularity, but seeing it so confidently picked here after you ban Olaf is something I was not expecting.
Yeah, I think it's usually something you want to secure yourself a good lane with it as well. Like, there's your Renekton, Pantheon, although that now has been taken off the board during the bans there from SolaFide, but we could see the interesting thing is I want to see if SolaFide end up picking that Renekton for themselves, because then again you deny a good partner to that Talia, because at the end of the day Talia is only as good as her laners in that early phase, because that seismic shove, that's the big thing. Super hard to land reliably, but if your laner has a point and click stun, it's a different story.
And I would have been a little surprised to see that one of the a second round Renekton pick. That would have been an interesting thing coming in from them to lock that so quickly because they got the Thresh. Then if they had somehow gotten second rotation Renekton, it leaves you up to counter picks. But the Aphelios definitely is something I'm a bit surprised on. You already talked about, the seismic shove coming in from Taliyah, something that's going to be really impactful. Aphelios isn't well known for being, the most mobile champion.
No.
Lucian was something I kind of had expected them to go for again. It did well last time. You saw what happened. Apollo got blue buff early, and the lane was his forever and a half. So I'm a little surprised to see with the option still there that they opted out of it instead, going up Helios, and now you're going up against a Kai'Sa and an Alistar.
Yeah, so I think what a lot of teams do is they end up, wow, Graves? That is, wow. Okay, never mind. I want to talk about Graves right now.
Okay, go for it.
That's bold. That's bold.
Is it?
Yeah,
you gotta explain. You gotta explain it to me then. Why is it so bold?
Of course. I'm so glad you asked. See, the thing, picking Graves into Taliyah, I think is a little strange because usually I think you want Graves into those at the very least, at least some AD matchups or matchups he can outfarm a lot. So into someone like Taliyah. Fact is, her whole kit kind of demolishes his. She outranges him. A true grit doesn't give you MR, at least not anymore. It did once upon a time. I feel like that's just not a good jungle matchup. And of course, you do have Alistar as well. The support I like to talk about that has what I like to call a no button with the headbutt, being able to force people to disengage in some instances. So I think this is more of I can't imagine we're going to see a lot of aggressive plays from Winthrop bot lane once again, because again, Thresh and Aphelios, super hard to get on top of unless they have you pushed in and you have a whole lane you can walk down in. But in this specific scenario, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I don't think Thresh and Aphelios is going to get the push either. So
no,
it's going to be tough.
I mean, Aphelios probably going to be able to beat Kai'Sa, and then the Thresh to be able to disengage an Alistar. It kind of has like innate ability within themselves, so they might be able to, but I'm definitely curious with that Taliyah being on the table. I almost feel like you're okay with giving up that. Right, no Renekton, not even banned. It was Yone Aatrox coming in from SolaFide. They're almost begging them to go for that Renekton, or they're just gonna grab it themselves. There it is.
That's great. That's really good though, because I think it still works so far with what SolaFide want to do, and the fact is you take away that pick from Winthrop. Because I'm, at least off the top of my head, I'm struggling to think of another top laner that might end up working up really well with that Taliyah. So you just remove one gank option already from this champion. And now it's looking like top lane isn't quite on Winthrop's mind just yet. So I do wonder if we are going to see one of those spicy Winthrop top lane picks. You know the ones.
I'm really interested if it's going to be that Mordekaiser, because that's something Hybrids has played a lot of, even though not necessarily I'm going to say like a high meta champion, but he's something that he's very confident with. But I want to talk about the Twisted Fate for a second.
Yes.
I love this pick right now with Taliyah, someone known for being able to rotate around the map really quickly, being able to look for those ganks, and the Khaled was the other pick that you had mentioned before that we've seen Hybrids play. It was into Aatrox, but seeing Kled here, and I gotta keep talking about mobility. Being able to constantly move around the map, and Kled only adds to that. So if there's a little bit of a lead Winthrop can gain through Frost Force on this Taliyah, they're going to be able to snowball and rampage themselves right into the base of SolaFide.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I really do think the comp definitely ends up shaping up to be a little bit nicer. I definitely was all doom and gloom a second ago, but I'm into Winthrop's comp now. I'm sold. Especially the TF, like you said. Great with the Destiny to be able to make cross-map plays. And what's the other thing Taliyah needs? Point, click, stun. Pick a card. Fits the build just fine. The Kled ultimate is also really nice as well, because it might not be global, but damn does that boy move fast. And it's going to make it easier for those plays, probably more in and outside the laning phase, because you can absolutely see Hybrids make that play towards the mid lane later on into the side lanes. So I think Winthrop's comp is really nice come that mid to late game.
All right, be done. How do you say Kled's alt name?
I don't even know. Please tell me.
Disappointed.
Oh.
It's charge. You always have to get it's not charge. If you read it's capital C H
Yeah,
A A A A A A A R G E exclamation point exclamation point exclamation point. So you
I
better
mean,
say it right.
wow, you know what? I will. I'm going to challenge myself now every time I say the alt in game. Not now. I gotta, prepare the
All right, you're gonna
pipes
save
while
it.
we
He's
do
gonna
some
save
vocal
it. I see.
exercises. Yeah, we
All
gotta
right.
save it. Yeah, gotta save it.
I respect it. I respect that. As do I respect the draft coming in from Winthrop. I love me some Kled. He's one of my favorite champions to be able to cast and watch. But having that paired up with the Talia jungle, that's something that has been starting to snake her way back. She's slowly been working her way back into the meta since you've been seeing some, little nerfs here and there to things like Lilia, to Graves, Olaf, kind of getting her back a little bit. Even to Gragas getting a little bit of just a touch. But the fact that she works so well with what the composition is of Winthrop, that I actually like this composition better than the last composition. That was an all-in comp that they all had to go in at the same time, and if it didn't work out, they got disengaged. We all saw what happened, exactly as I had prophesized. Here,
Yes.
there are a few different things. It's not quite so one-dimensional. They can actually skirt in and out of the battle. They not only have that ability to be able to get the pick set up by Doxa and then followed up by Frost Force, but they can go for the all-in. They can even disengage if they need to from Alistar. They can look for the sieges using both Twisted Fate, Talia, and Talia to be able to clear out the waves, even though Sasuke isn't going to really be that great in this range game. It's still, you don't really need to worry about that because you've got Talia and Twisted Fate to do the work, the heavy lifting in sieges. On the other side, it's a little bit more difficult for SolaFide. And this is always something that I have a problem whenever I see Graves and Renekton on the same team.
Yeah.
Who's your front line?
Yep.
Who's going to be the one that... Because Graves can't be. He's the one
Nope.
who wants to be able to kind of go in and out of the battle, kind of like a Kassadin does. Renekton can be kind of frontliney, but he's... I say he's not even deceptively tanky. He's deceptively not tanky. Because everyone always thinks he's so tanky and he can survive so much, get a gore drinker and that kind of stuff, and then dies immediately. And so I always have this problem with Renekton, with that style, where everyone is like, oh, he's a pseudo-tank. I consider Silas more of a pseudo-tank than I do Renekton. And then Thresh, too? Thresh ain't like an Alistar. Alistar, all he has to do is get the Triumphant Roar, he uses his ult, too, to unbreak the chains, and he's gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. And more than anything else, what really confuses me about SolaFide's composition is that Zoe pick at the end there. Because that's really throwing me for a loop a little bit, just in that, what does Zoe want to do here? Zoe wants to hang back, poke, try to find some sleepy trouble bubbles, which could be a good way to start engagements. But with Galio on the table, magical, I can't help but wonder, where's my boy Galio? Because at the end of the day, although I'm not so high on Aphelios these days when it comes to ADC, the ADC tier or the meta or whatever you want to call it, when you pick a champ like Aphelios, you have to draft for a champ like Aphelios. You gotta babysit that man, hold his hand, take care of him, give him that TLC, all that good stuff. So the draft, if I saw Galio, I think that would be fine. You have that hero's entrance to be able to either follow in with the Renekton or peel for your Aphelios. So that would have made this composition a lot nicer for the side of SolaFide. But now, Zoe makes this one really hard, in my opinion, because like you said, who's really going to start these engages here? And against Winthrop's composition, if you start an engage haphazardly, you will get CC'd 9 ways to Sunday in ways that I like to call hands off the keyboard stun, as in, take your hands off, bro. You're not playing right now.
Though I will say this, because last time we had a composition coming in from Winthrop where it was a lot of low range, and which is exactly what happened, they get shoved in early on, even after our failed invade from SolaFide. It doesn't spell well. Looking at what SolaFide have drafted, most of these lanes are going to be able to get a pretty decent early advantage to themselves. Well, sure, you could argue that the Zoe Twisted Fate is about even, but Renekton is normally pretty aggressive early on. While same with Kled, it's still Renekton. He's one of the strongest early top laners in the game. Aphelios Thresh into Kaisa Alistar, they're really low range, and all you have to do is, if you ever see Kenji going in, flay. Boom. No more head.
Yeah, I'd say,
And so that's my problem for now, at least for Winthrop, is getting through that early game again. SolaFide are going to try to set up how they did last time, where all 3 lanes are going to be able to push, giving Winston a field day to be able to power farm, even if Frost Force is on a slightly more aggressive AP jungler this time.
Yeah.
Graves late game scary. he gonna be doing lots of damage, and if you're down 2-3 levels to Graves as Talia, I just don't know what's going to work for Winthrop at that point.
Yeah, I think Frost Forest and the rest of Winthrop absolutely have to look back on that game one and think, you know what, we got to slow down on the ganks, focus on farming, because at the end of the day, that is a big part of your role nowadays in the jungle. At least now, if Frost Forest does run into Winston, it's a lot better of a matchup for him than in game one. It is not Lillian's Olaf. In fact, this is a matchup he can absolutely win. So I do think, at the very least, some of these skirmishes could go his way. But again, the big thing, focus on farming. Got to keep your levels up for when these engages happen, because in the last game, Frost Forest, didn't get to do a whole lot of anything.
No. And you know what? There's only one way we're going to find out if that's all going to work. We're going to get into our game after a short break when we come back. Game 2 between SolaFide and Winthrop. So stick around. We're loaded up onto the Rift. SolaFide up 1-0 over Winthrop University. Only one of these two teams is going to be able to make it into the playoffs. SolaFide one step away from being able to secure themselves into the quarterfinals. And as the #1 seed, you better bet your bottom dollar that they want to get into those playoffs.
Absolutely, especially after that upset loss on Saturday night. They are looking to re-solidify themselves as the best team here at Champs. And, I mean, game one definitely was a good introductory paragraph into that essay. But we're going to have to see if they can close it out here in game 2. Or maybe we're going to go into the game 3. This time around, we do agree that we like Winthrop's composition more this time than next time. But the early game that SolaFide played so well, game 1 can't happen again. Or good comp or no comp, it's not gonna go that well.
Not if Winthrop wants to be able to force a game 3. While they have been able to do so, we remember back into the second day of gameplay for this proving grounds, they were able to take a game off of Anu, the 2nd seed. A lot of people could make an argument that Winthrop have had one of the easier schedules going into things, but same with SolaFide. They lost to Wildcard, which is a strong team. But a lot of people could argue that being the #1 seed, that they should have still been able to win a lot of these games pretty handedly. Losing there against Wildcard in a 2-0, as well, not even a 3-game series, might speak that if they're not playing this one seriously, if they get themselves caught out again and they're not in that tier 2 or tier 3 Frieza that we were mentioning before, maybe when are we ever going to see the perfect form at that rate?
That's right. Well, if they do end up forcing a game 3, maybe we will see it. So it is going to be on Winthrop to be able to show that to us there, as things are going mostly as expected so far in this early game. A lot of that early vision coming down. This time, no early shenanigans have come through yet. It's only been 2 minutes, so who knows?
Yeah, I was going to say, it does seem like SolaFide learned their lesson.
Yeah, and I'm proud of them for that, personally. And I do like that Hybrids is... It's kind of having a lot of fun in this top lane matchup as well. We did talk about a little, doing Kled things, and we got to talk about how what really works for Winthrop is doing. Oh, I thought he was gonna fall off the Scarl. But what really works
if that happened, that would have been doom and gloom.
Yeah, like under tower, no less too. But the thing I wanted to say was, the thing that really ends up working for Winthrop is when they kind of play their own style, when they don't always run for all those meta picks. Last game, they seem to try and play things standard, doesn't quite work out. Now Hybrids is on the Kled, who I just realized doesn't even have Flash.
Nope.
So it is the Teleport Ignite. So this is more their style, a champ Hybrids loves to play, and this could work for them.
I mean, it is. Kled is one of the few champions that I think can get away with not having that Flash purely for the fact that he has a couple dashes, pocket pistol as well. Even if he doesn't have Scarl, it allows him to be able to get away. So there are these abilities for him to stay safe. But right now, mid lane, you're seeing a bit of back and forth coming in from Doxa and Tuesday. He has Redemption. Oh my goodness. Almost solo killing him with the help of said Redemption, forcing out the Ignite from Doxa to scare him away.
Yeah, that is rough. You really got to dodge those sleepy trouble bubbles if you don't want to get chunked out of lane like that. And it's worth noting too, Doxa actually hasn't. He's gone Phase Rush, not Unsealed Spellbook. So what you see for Summoner spells is what this Twisted Fate is going to be running. There is no teleport, so all of those forced resets actually will be very impactful when it comes to CS experience. So although Doxa still has the cross-map playability with Destiny, he's still not going to be able to move as freely across the map, because usually Unsealed is like, oh, he can, this time it's teleport, next time it's Destiny. Where's he going to come from?
Right, and I do feel like Doxa, it is kind of a skill matchup going into Zoe, but did lose that matchup, and not having that ability to be able to reliably, play the mind games of the double TP using either Destiny or TP is going to hurt them in the long run. You needed to be able to try to see if you can put that pressure onto Tuesday. Tuesday, did he use his TP? I guess he used his TP to get back to lane. Okay, I just saw the TP go on cooldown, and it was a little weird on my end, but yes, okay, so, but still, I don't know if I'm really liking what Doxa went for that. Trying to see if he could be able to beat Tuesday, and then the fact that he was forced to recall early, like you mentioned, has now put him in a position that what's going to happen, especially if he keeps eating those sleepy trouble bubbles, and then pop goes the Weasel, first blood for Winston.
Yeah, that absolutely is not really the matchup you really want to try to run yourself into. Yeah, of course, it is skill-based, but again, no Unsealed Spellbook means it is going to be harder for you to take these risks, because again, no teleport, and now Doxa is going to have to walk his way back as Frostford is going to try to hold his wave for the moment here. But honestly, props to Tuesday. He is really playing those mind games with the Sleepy Trouble Bubbles. He is holding it forever. Every time the camera moves to that mid lane, I clench a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I was talking about earlier my Tank Anivia build.
Oh, you were?
With Tank Anivia, you max out E, right? But you also want to make sure you get an early point in Q. Because what you do is you run at them so you have a point blank Q. And that is exactly what Tuesday's been doing. But you can see bot lane, a little bit of skirmishing, forcing out the TP from Hybrids too. Not going so well for Winthrop. They're the ones who had to burn a lot more, which means that they feel forced now to try to fight around Dragon.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to be all for naught here. At the very least, they could pick that up for themselves. Dokla still has the TP too, so while he is picking up complaints... Oh, wait a minute.
Tuesday flashing over the wall, away from the bear trap too. It is going to be the Dragon secured by Winthrop. That's what they needed to do, because you already got Dokla hard shoving top lane, making sure that they are going to get a lot more gold into this Renekton, but also making it so that you're going even. You lost yourself that Infernal Dragon. You're getting more on the map since Tuesday didn't die. Your team's actually in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of Unsealed Spellbook, Tuesday also has heal available too. So the Zoe still going to be pretty hard, pretty difficult to take down. But he might be looking to recall soon. Overall, yeah, this is still so far so good for SolaFide. But here we go. Dokla wants a little bit of this matchup.
More dashing in to get a lot of damage on Hybrids. He's trying to get rid of Scarl. If he can do that, that's when you'll see him go all in. And this is perfectly done. Playing with the cooldown timers, waiting it out. Now, it's forcing Hybrids to have to burn that bear trap on a rope, not to fight Dokla, but instead to try to secure and push back the minion wave. Remember, bear trap on a rope gives grievous wounds now. The fact that he's able to cut through a lot of the healing Dokla could normally get in a fight is why you want to be able to use that exclusively onto Renekton. And if you're forced to use that on minions, that means you've lost that ability to actually fight against Renekton. As every time, boom, 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 goes in.
And speaking of goes in, Sir Kenji.
Oh, a little bit of disenergy onto Zazel. They should still be able to pick up that kill. He's trying to get away. He's still alive. The body block in from Winston. He tried to see if he could survive. Finally dies, but they're going to be able to turn back 2 kills and give both of them to Apollo.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Smokescreen going so big in there for Winston to buy time for exactly that. You talked about it in Game 1 Magical. Again, top tier talent here. Former LCS players in SolaFide. Again, so good with their reset timers to already have Zazel and Apollo Price moving towards that top side. And that's why they were able to turn a play that should have not gone their way in their favor.
Dokla, Saskia, who wins this fight? We all know how it goes. The Crocodile, he flashes forward and he easily slices him apart.
Yeah, I think that was a little greedy from Saskia to try and stay. Once you see that Croc, you unfortunately got to run like you are in the Florida swamp. This is not a situation you want to find yourself in. And again, the late rotation coming through from that bot lane. Saskia, just forcefully recalled in that moment, is only now moving their way to the top side, as now it's going to allow Apollo Price to keep farming these waves, potentially even pick up some turret plates. And on top of those 2 early kills, this Aphelios looking kind of thick.
Yeah, and Beatdown, I know you're talking about Aphelios, but speak to me. Why does Hybrids have a Bomby Sender?
I'm going to guess he's going Sunfire. No, Turbo Chem Tank, most likely. It has to be, right?
On Kled?
I mean, I think all of these items on Kled is a little confusing for me, but I assume I'm thinking the speed boost. It's my guess. If not, probably just Sunfire Aegis for all that extra damage.
Into Renekton?
Yeah.
That's not. Now you see why I'm confused. You see why I'm a little question. Like I can understand it in certain matchups, but I feel like you're almost forfeiting that matchup now into the Renekton. You're saying that I don't feel like I can actually go toe-to-toe anymore. I'm giving that up, and that's big because look at what's happening across the map. Apollo and Zazel, kind of deja vu from last game where they're able to get a lot of damage onto the turret. You even have Kenji trying to make the play in mid lane on Tuesday. Should be an easy kill, using that last auto attack damage to be able to finish off Zoe. That's a lot used, and now they have to make sure they're getting other things, because if Doka can keep looking for these 1v1s against hybrids, trying to see if they can get more, plus the side of SolaFide are able to get the first turret gold, that's not really enough to justify a solo kill on Tuesday, especially with Zazel able to drop bot lane to try to scare hybrids and keep Dokla alive from a threatened dive.
Yeah, it's tough. It's because a lot of that plate gold ends up again in this Aphelios' pocket, and he's really starting to accelerate at this point here because the late rotation means no one's really able to match. Winston doesn't even need to drop that Rift Herald. They realize nobody's coming to match, and it's just going to be so easy for them to take down that turret. That Rift Herald's still going to be up for roughly another minute now, and I think at this point you want to drop that in the mid lane, and at this point rotate Apollo mid and or bot wherever he is, but wherever he is, drop that Rift Herald, get him more plates, because if we look at this gold lead, it's already just over 1,000 gold, and because he's going to be your big damage dealer, keep it up, man, keep it piling on.
Looks like they might pop bot lane, try to see if they can get that. They have Winston nearby, or maybe they're just going to get a lot of damage without it. They don't even need it at the moment because it's Hybrids who shows up in the bot lane, realizing maybe that's not necessarily the best place for me to be, because with the Cloud Dragon being up and with the Rift Herald being popped, they can easily turn to be able to get that objective.
That's right. So Apollo Price is going to be able to grab that third to last plate, and there it is. Guarantees the charge. Will take it, and look at that extra gold into Apollo's pocket. Like, it's unreal. And
Apollo's the same level as Hybrids. He's the same level as Hybrids right now. The top laner.
That's not good.
That ain't good at all. Hybrids definitely needs to get a little bit more to be able to help out the team. As Dokla getting threatened by Sir Kenji does have the redemption to be able to keep up full health. As Frostforce not going to be able to land the seismic shove to try to get the kill on it to Dokla. Instead, trying to see if they can run away. Weaver's Wall used just to be able to escape, which cut off Saskia's retreat and almost into the arms of Zazel. Battlestar not going to land, so that means it is going to be Winthrop escaping, but unfortunately a lot burned on their retreat.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see the Weaver's Wall going a little hard for that Renekton, but
I think he's just dead.
Yeah, he's gone.
Not much to talk about there, so keep going, down.
Yeah, really, just at the end of the day, using such a
Wait.
crucial ultimate means, oh, are they going to kill? Oh, Frost
No,
Force
no,
is
no, no,
also
no, no, no.
dead.
I don't even care about this kill. I don't even care if
Really?
they get it or not, because that's
Talk to me.
Triforce on Doxa right now. That's the real important thing.
Oh.
That's just a death on Frost Force. That's not important. There's a
Wait a minute,
Triforce
wait.
on a Twisted Fate right now, and I am
Dude.
here for it.
How insane was it that we were talking about AD Twisted Fate and
We
what
were.
he used to build literally before the broadcast? And,
We were.
and look at Doxa. It's looking like he is bringing it back for the run back. But I'm actually going to let you talk about this one, Magical.
I love it.
Why?
I'm here for it.
But the old build doesn't work anymore.
Okay,
You
no,
remember
no, no.
that?
So the old build doesn't necessarily work. The old build was a weird build where you would go for a bit of, attack speed, but you kind of only wanted to get the rapid fire first. That was like your main thing, was rapid fire. You get the Triforce for the Sheen, and then after that, you go for 2 Infinity Edges, which was kind of like the Jhin build. But it was much more about the fact that you're going to have a lot of upfront and burst damage that would surprise people. Especially if you're able to time it right with the pick card, with your 3rd auto attack from the wild cards, and using rapid fire at the same time. It'd have this upfront and burst damage that could nearly take you down to half, but you gotta be able to survive and split push if you're gonna be able to use it. If you just die like that, it ain't gonna do you no good.
No, it really isn't. And I mean, no vision up either. There was such an easy kill for them. And it looks like we're seeing a repeat of game 1 here, Magical. This early game has just been completely in control of SolaFide. If we're at 14 minutes and there's a 3,500 gold difference, and that is, at this point in the game, it's pretty bad.
Right,
It's,
okay.
may come to a shock to some people.
Okay. I can tell you the build that Doxa is going for.
All right.
It's the secondary AD build, which is kind of like the pseudo AD, where it's more about going for attack speed, the Ginsu's Rage Blade kind of build. Dokla, is he gonna die? He's able to use Dominance to be able to survive. Oh no, he does die, but so does Frost Force. And look who's here. It's Tuesday. Ain't getting no charge today, Hybrids. You're easy pickings for the team. Who do they want to give the kill? I think they want to give it over to Tuesday. That's what they want it.
Yeah, and it's going to be an easy one at that. I think Frost Force realized he was dead to rights as it is as soon as Winston shows up. So at least he managed to get the kill onto Dokla. But overall, he's still looking kind of rough here. I'm waiting for Frost Force to respawn just so I can double check what level he is currently. And it is 10. So there's only a 1 level difference right now. But the farm lead we're seeing there, if you look down at the scoreboard, is quite staggering. So once again, Winston is outpacing here. And with all these tier 1 towers going down, of course, it comes from Winston farming his second jungle. The fact that, yeah, this is mine now. And Frost is just sitting there like, what?
And we talked about this. Talia is all about the early game.
True.
About getting these early clears that's really fast, hard for anyone to really be able to compete with. But if you don't actually put pressure onto the map against Graves, he's going to power farm. And that's what Winston did in game 1, and he's doing it again here in game 2. And a little different, though. He's also power farming some champs along with it, not just getting the minions.
And overall, we're seeing another repeat from last game. All this deep vision placed by SolaFide. The fact that this mid-tier 1 is only just now being threatened is a little staggering to me, but overall, any minute now before that goes as well. They are looking for something here as Zazel throws a blind death sentence.
Won't beat down. It does seem like it's almost like on time for SolaFide. They did this exact same play in game 1. And what did they just get on the back of it? They got the Rift Herald. And what does that mean? All they have to do is, if they want, they can send everyone mid lane, they can pop down that eye there, and they get another tier 1 turret, getting full control of the map yet again, around the same time they did last time.
Yeah, and at this point, too, they're just going to make their way towards that Dragon Pit as well. Winston holding on to that Rift Herald could drop it in a lane to force an answer there from Winthrop, but might just hold on to it as well. You're going to see Dokla is hanging around on the top side of the map because he does have TP. They could fight this one, but it is just going to get bursted down, I think.
They're going to still fight it, though, because look, the charge was body blocked by Zazel. Beautiful flash to make sure. Kled ain't going nowhere. No escape for him. Easy kill and rampage out of Apollo.
4-0-0 on this Aphelios, and I'm starting to think we won't even really get to the team fighting stage at this rate here, Magical, because when I say team fighting, I'm talking front to back. All right, everybody's got their ults. Let's see how it goes down. At the moment, it just ends up being these skirmishes in favor of SolaFide here. And all these kills, they just keep donating them to Apollo, to Winston. And these are the two people, if you look at this comp, they're the ones who need these kills. And all that extra gold just shows in the power that is displayed every time they show up to someone with a blue HP bar.
Destiny used looking for Dokla. They don't have the rapid fire just yet out of Dokla to be able to actually lock that down. Instead, they're trying to see if they can run him down. Flashes away from the headbutt pulverized combo and will escape with his life.
Yeah, and it's rough. They just really don't end up getting anything out of it at all. Dokla is actually going to hang out in the top side as well. So he is still, he's still going to just continue to farm here to the point where I think they know that he's there and they're just hanging around in this bush, but they don't actually want to do anything about it. Doxa being so low on mana means that him and Sir Kenji just have to back off and keep letting this happen.
It's honestly because there's not really much you can do over
Yeah.
Dokla. All he has to do is, you know, say, okay, I still have dominance. I didn't even use my ult to try to be able to escape. I can do so much. Look at Frost Force. What happened to him? Where'd he go? Is this a magic trick?
I mean, I think Apollo Prices did his best impression of the task manager because he ended Frost Forest process right there. It really just comes from the death sentence giving vision, and once that Moonlight Vigil lands, it was pretty much GG well played from that moment, at least in that fight. So that's just going to be another tower gained here for SolaFide as they are just not even running. They are sprinting away with this game, Magical. I think we're going to see another 20-minute Baron here coming through.
Well, last time it was a bait. This time, I wouldn't even be surprised if they can secure it at 20 minutes.
Win that
They
fight.
have so much control, so much pressure, a 6,000 gold lead here at 19 and a half minutes. And if we look at the gold, a lot of that is unspent. They go back, they buy their items, they reset for the fight around Baron. You can even see, they're trying to see if they can get this kill on Dokla, but what is it managing? Sure, you got the charge coming in. Sure, you're able to pop the dominance, but Winston's nearby, trying to help out. They will sacrifice the Crocodile, but they found the jungler. The flash coming in. It's looking like they can get one more auto attack on him, and they're going to be able to pick up the kill, while Winston's going to be able to continue the fight on to Hybrids on the other side. Bear trap on a rope, trying to pull him back. Not going to be able to land the paddle star. Instead, it's going to look for the sleep double level that barely is not going to be able to connect. Skarl, he's a little bit of a coward in the fight. Skipped away, trying to survive. Lots of damage with an ignite, taking the rampage for Winston. And without the jungler, without the top lane, Baron is on the menu.
And you know what? Even though you say Dokla is deceptively untanky on this Renekton, he certainly had enough HP to allow Winston and Tuesday to just demolish Frost Forest. Because had that fight gone their way, had they just gotten the single pick, maybe a second on to another member of the team here of SolaFide, they could have been the ones to go for the Baron. But instead, all that time spent means you lose your jungler, you lose your top laner after a slow burn from the Ignite, and that will indeed be a 20-minute Baron here for SolaFide. And as Cubby would say, it's not over to the fat lady sings, but she is taking a deep breath right now.
I was about to say, it's seeming like the encore performance is about to be given in this one.
That's right.
It's a massive lead coming into the Baron on the side of all 5 members of SolaFide. And looking back at that play, I feel like this is kind of the mistake that they're making. They feel like Dokla is the one, as I say, untanky person.
Yeah.
He's the kind of deceptively tanky, but he's not really that tanky because he's 1 and 2 right now. It's not like he's doing too much in this game, but that's the thing. It's enough attention being drawn away from the actual important members such as Apollo and Winston. That's all that matters. It's just getting the eyes drawn on you. It's the whole Teemo effect of it's the global taunt onto Teemo. You just want to kill the bastard every time you see him, but in reality, there's no real reason to keep killing him over and over again.
Yeah, honestly, that is the scenario here. Now, again, you can see on the minimap, they're trying to see if they can get whatever they can, but Dokla, no problem, slices right over the wall here. And the literal only thing going over... Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. The one singular thing going for Winthrop here is that they're up a dragon. If they somehow,
Okay.
by some
Here we go. Here we go. Reapers wall and charge used. Winston barely alive, looking to escape, and he survives. It's Zazel who took a lot of the damage, looking to see if Winston can get back into the fight to try to see if they can continue it on to Hybrids. Battle, sorry. Oh, it is a shutdown coming in from Hybrids, barely able to get the kill onto Winston, but there is still a potential fight. Sasuke is cut away from the team, and they still got Baron on several members, all the while Dokla escorting those minions in the mid.
Yeah, and wow, that actually nice paddle start into the Sleepy Trouble Bubble isn't going to really take Dokes out. But the thing is, this is still good. You could make a play for this dragon here, and you're going to have to do it soon. Winston is back up in 20 seconds, but it's looking like because they're up a dragon, they actually don't want to really fight for this. They just want to try to farm, catch up with what little gold they can, but I'm not sure if that's really going to be the play here.
Dokla.
Hopefully they punish Dokla.
Round 3, trying to kill him. He's trying to escape. He has that Gore Drinker if he needs to. Dominant's going to be the first thing he pops. Gore Drinker is going to be the next. He finally falls to Frost Force, but at the cost of an Ocean Dragon being traded for his life.
Yeah, so Winthrop believe because they were up a dragon, it's only 2-2. It isn't even soul point here. They think that, okay, it's fine. We just gonna farm. Oh, Dokla's here? Say less. They absolutely take that kill any day of the week. And any kill that can be donated over to the Foundation of Frost Forest, I think is greatly appreciated at this exact moment here. So, I mean, kind of nice. Like, there's still not a lot going here for Winthrop.
It's silver linings right now.
Yeah,
that's the only problem. It's, again, Destiny and Gate being used to kill Dokla.
Yeah.
Not Apollo, the 501 Aphelios. Not Tuesday, the 2-1 and 7 bounty on her head, Zoe. Sure, they got the kill into Winston in the last fight. It felt more like Winston being the one giving that. Now, with this pick onto Tuesday, I don't know why Tuesday's doing that. That's what you need. You need to pick onto someone like that. Zazel is going to be a casualty in the fight, all because Tuesday gets himself caught out, while on the other side, Moonlight comes in, looking for a lot of damage, not going to be explosive enough. Weaver's wall, cutting the retreat. Apollo's the one they want. He was able to flash over the wall, get a heal as well. Fight coming in. Sir Kenji wants to be able to lock down this Aphelios, but he's struggling to get near him. Not going to be able to get the size of shove, and look who's been able to rotate his way all the way down. It was Dokla trying to see if he can join the fight, but instead, the disengage is already complete.
I like that call. You end up getting 2 kills, and that is huge. And I got to echo your question, Magical. Tuesday, what are you doing there in the jungle? Obviously, feeling yourself a little too much there. But overall, we are going to go to a pause. But again, overall, that's definitely a bit of a misplay there from SolaFide. And it actually could have been a travesty had there not been the threat of Dokla, had that Weaver's Wall managed to actually cut off and shut down Apollo. Because if you saw it on camera, it just missed the cutoff there. And he didn't have flash available either. So that would have been a huge shutdown picked up. That would have been a good way to cut that gold lead further, and that would actually be a good way to push out a lot of these waves. Still good though from Winthrop.
But this is why I have said that SolaFide is only at form 2 Frieza. A couple mistakes here and there that shouldn't have happened. Maybe be a little bit less confident in that kind of play. You didn't have full control. You didn't have Zazel in a position to really help you out, and it really cost the life of both you and Zazel. Got lucky that Apollo was able to escape with his head, but had Apollo died, that would have been detrimental. That's a huge bounty on this Aphelios. You lose that and gift it over to someone like Sasuke, that can suddenly make this Kaisa a lot scarier. This is why this kind of fight is a little bit risky. You see the dive that is attempted on Apollo. They want to be able to kill him. He's still alive, though. Hybrids was not able to finish him off. It's going to be the double kill gifted over to Winston instead, keeping Apollo barely alive. Not going to be able to get that Seeker to be able to connect onto his head. Instead, it's going to look for the Battlestar, barely missing. Frost Force, seismic shove onto Tuesday, making sure the disengage is there. But again, the fight did not work out Winthrop's way.
And again, Winthrop just keep on getting really close to these fights that they want to. And had there not been such a huge gap established by this early game here for the side of SolaFide, then these fights might have gone more their way on the side of Winthrop. They might have had the damage, the items to be able to capitalize. That's twice now where things were close.
Just, it's nail biters really there too. I'm hearing that our producer's trying to make sure we are in touch with everyone. I'm at 45, so I'll pause at 50. And then once you get to 50, let me know. Okay, let's play from there.
Yep.
57, 58, 59.
Yeah, it looks good.
Perfect. All right, there we go. It looks like we got a little desync, but we're back at it. Getting perfect time for us to be able to fix that, because now we can talk about. It's inches. Apollo barely surviving. That's his second time playing with fire, and had he died, that would have been huge. And Frostforce dying there would have been even bigger. Because what's up? It's another Baron.
Yeah, but you say that. However, Frostforce is chunked out. Has to go for that reset. Has committed the flash just to stay alive there as well. He is going to be able to get there quickly, but it is going to have to be quite the fight here. Hybrids does have TP. Quite the substantial flank is going to be necessary if they play for a steal. But look at this Defolio damage! Oh my god!
So much damage. And they had full vision knowing that that was happening. So instead, they have to make the call to at least trade for something. At least get something on the Rift. And a turret for Baron? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely that comic where you're just shrugging, I guess. Because it is certainly better than nothing. And I do like the that heads-up play from Doxa to me to be like, you know what? Might as well Destiny, might as well take something just to make sure we can get in and get out. But the question is going to be now, Winston and the rest here on SolaFide are back on the Rift, and now this is going to be their sole point. And this is a dragon you can't give away. Unfortunately, Winthrop, they don't have a choice in the matter. They're just going to have to back right off, clear whatever vision they can. Frostforce going to try and farm what he can, because now the gap is really starting to show here. 2 levels between these junglers, just like it was in game 1.
Right, and now the question is, who do you actually try to focus? Apollo or Winston? Neither of them are going to be easy targets for you to kill.
No.
Neither of them are going to be easy targets for you to get near. But they're going to do a lot of damage to you if you can't kill them. And if you only kill one of them, the other one's still alive, dishing out that damage. So the question becomes, who do you kill first?
It's tough because of how aggressive Winston is. He's most likely going to end up being that target, but we're gonna have to see. Oh wow!
Dead.
Damn,
just
dead. Gone.
Yeah, he is, and now that means it's a 4v5 fight. TP behind. Charge coming in.
Fight.
Box laid down. Play not connecting. Instead, it's going to be the headbutt onto Winston. Barely keeping himself alive. Same with Apollo on the other side. And look at Hybrid taking a lot of damage, trying to see if they can get Frostforce in, and he just can't. He will die once he's up. There it is. Dominating Apollo easily. Going to be able to finish him off. The rest of the scattered winds of Winthrop. They lost the 4v5 fight. They thought they had the advantage, but they just couldn't kill Winston or Apollo.
And there's really nothing that's going to show how doomed this seems to be for Winthrop than that fight right there. You have the 4v5 advantage. You have the TP coming through.
I feel like we've seen this many times before. Dokla, he got headbutted away. Yeah, they give the kill over to Sasuke, but I feel like there's something a little bit more important though.
Yeah, it is going to be that mid-tier 1. The rest of the team here are going to be able to take it, or not tier 1, excuse me, inhibitor turret, as that's going to go down. You see Tuesday TP up to the top side as well. No neutrals to fight for, but now an inhib down, another inhib exposed. God, this feels like a really slow and painful death for Winthrop here.
Sure, they're getting some good picks. Sure, they're finding some advantages here and there. But it doesn't mean a damn if Apollo's alive. It doesn't mean a damn if Winston's alive. Sure, you kill Tuesday again. Sure, you kill Dokla again. But they're not the real important ones. The siege, sure, the poke from Tuesday is important, but I just keep seeing Apollo and Winston being the ones that are actually destroying your base.
So, and here's the thing, Winthrop, this is a slim chance, super duper slim chance. Really, the only way they manage to come back into this one is if they do manage to keep farming, because of course you get to that point where things are capped, and then the difference in gold starts to matter a lot less here. If we somehow get to that point, if we just look at the fights that Winthrop like to find as a whole, they're good ones, Magical. Like, we saw some really good engages where we're like, oh, maybe they have this one. But the problem ends up being the power. If they can close that gap somehow, they could find their way into the game. But now they've lost their second inhibitor. You can see, even though Baron is no longer available, SolaFide are making the move for the third.
And the continued 80, the pseudo 80 build coming in from Doxa, this is all about split push, and it's just not happening. You're losing every single turret. You lost your final inhibitor turret easily. There's very little fight that was put up by the side of SolaFide.
No, and I think at this point, you're just trying to see if anybody steps even a centimeter out of position so that you can hope to punish them and get the kill that could start off what would be a legendary fight. But at the moment, you can see SolaFide, they're playing so well, so disciplined. They're just waiting themselves to see if they can catch somebody out with the bubble, with the hook. But Hybrids, the bear trap on a rope, isn't going to find a whole lot. He does want to fight Dokla, though.
What? I mean, it's more of skirmishing at this rate, and all it's doing is delaying the inevitable. Because look at what happens. He's got a level lead now for the side of Dokla. He's able to get rid of Skarl, even though you're able to get the gold card. Well, guess what he had? He had quick silver, so he's able to get out of that trade this time around, and they got themselves their final inhibitor. That's 3 down, double supers in every single lane.
Yeah, now this is tough. Ocean Dragon, potentially the last one, is going to show up on the Rift in about 30 seconds here, and all these inhibs will still be down at the moment here. So now, 33 minutes in the game, a miracle, and I mean miracle, bold underscored and italicized, is what's going to need to come through here from Frostfire. I'm talking about the steal of all steals. If he manages to do it, I'm going to call him God Frost Forest from now on.
You know what? I am here for it. I love me some miracle plays, and maybe they're looking for the miracle because Destiny Gate's been opened up. They know where everyone else. They forced out the TP from Dokla, and they're actually opening the gate, trying to see who they can get. But Dokla's really fast. Was able to scare away Frost Force, all of them, trying to see if they can defend around this dragon. Supers pouring into the base. They got the knockback. The Weaver's wall to cut off poor Hybrids. They got themselves a dragon, but at what cost? He's got a massive shield, and he's dead. Both jungler and top laner are gone. They pop the battle song to try to escape, but Winston just goes golden. They know that they can easily escape this one. They have super minions. The Winions are going to win the damn game before anyone can even show up as someone falls asleep. Doxa, what you're going to be able to do? You can't escape. A killer instinct doesn't really help when you're dead. And you have only Sasuke alive. They're even using the TP just to rub some salt in the wound onto Sasuke, saying, you can't be able to get away from this one forever. We're just going to pad the KDs and look for that ace. We're all chasing you down. He even uses the movement speed from Quicksilver trying to get the kill, but he didn't because the minions and Winston win the game. They're going on to the playoffs.
And there it is. Winthrop, who were hoping for the upset, go out, not with a bang, but unfortunately with a whimper. An 0-2 defeat, but SolaFide definitely showing us that they have so much more in the tank with how strong they look on the day. And you know what, Magical? You've sold me on it. This is not even their final form, and I can't wait to see how SolaFide are going to look going into the playoffs.
Same here, because with a 2-0 victory like that, where pretty much just seemed like they were playing it slow, patiently, they knew they had these leads, they had their lanes that were working out so well, the draft looked great, and then when it came to teamfight, sure, a couple mistakes here and there, but they always had the advantage. Even if they lost the fight, what was up on the table? There weren't any objectives that they had to worry about losing. The only 2 dragons they really lost were early into the game, so it felt like SolaFide had a confident game plan in both games 1 and 2, and they look like they're going to be confident going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the thing to highlight about SolaFide, especially in today's match, is that consistency. The rotation after the first dragon from their bot lane. Always first, always effective, allowing them to secure the first Rift Herald. Like you had just mentioned, a lot of key abilities. SolaFide, for the most part, they don't look for any questionable skirmishes unless there's nothing on the map. I get the flashbacks to game 1 when Zazel is on the Seraphine and you see Winston on the Olaf. Both Ragnarok and Encore down. Oh man, those are great team fight abilities. Too bad there's nothing to punish them with because there's no dragon, there's no Rift Herald. At the end of the day, SolaFide clearly know when they can and can't take risk with a few exceptions, and they've shown that in today's series.
Indeed, they have. And going on into the playoffs, it's going to be nice to see how they're going to be able to perform. And I really want to see them stay this confident, stay pretty strong, and also have really clean drafts. Because while I love seeing Kled, and I love seeing Talia. Then Talia did get some buffs. I did forget about the buffs that she received recently with the double damage she now does to the jungle camps to make her clear a little faster. We just didn't see that early aggression coming in from Frost Force to take advantage of that. Same with Kled, who got an early lane pressure against Renekton, which is a great thing to have, but every other lane was floundering, was falling apart, while Winston just kept power farming the entire game, including those of champions, to be able to have this massive lead where you saw the damage chart just a second ago. He was by far the largest, and I thought it was going to be Aphelios.
Yeah, with how strong Apollo was, I am a little surprised that he wasn't top in the damage charts. But when you think about it, how involved was Apollo really in the skirmishes? When people got on top of him, don't get me wrong, he was there to dish out the damage and just rip them a new one. But when it really came down to securing those kills, it did end up falling to Winston there. He especially once he got to that 3-item mark, he was catching people out and just popping them like balloons. They didn't even know what happened. Like, I've talked about hands off the keyboard stun, but I got to think of something for when you die so quickly, you can't even press your F key.
It does suck when that happens. It's an unfortunate thing. I do want to give some updates of things that are exciting, because I did look over at the main Risen channel, and I do believe that series is finished and concluded. I don't know if anyone wants to hear these spoils out there, so I'll probably actually save those for the moment. The one I will say that's the interesting one is the Cloud9 Amateur versus the Wichita Wolves, which is currently tied at 1-1. So that one is going to be fun to be able to witness, but for now, that is it for myself, Mad Magical, and Beatdown Boulevard here on the second Risen channel. We might be able to go host the main Risen channel, that way you can see some interviews that are going on, but if you don't want to watch that, I suggest dipping out now so that way you can watch the VODs and remain spoil-free. But until the next time, you guys, have a wonderful night. I'll see you in the quarterfinals.